Today I will be reading you a passage from Lauren Graham's book, Talking as Fast as I Can. For those of you who don't know, Lauren Graham is an actor best known for starring in the TV show Gilmore Girls as Lorelai Gilmore. In November, she published this book, which is a mix of memoir and essays. In the excerpt I'm reading, Lauren Graham talks about paper towels and Betty White. Hollywood is mostly for young people, and young people mostly like to look at other young people because that's who they relate to. In television, young people are people ages 18 to 49. You may have heard of these people. They're sometimes referred to as the key demographic. They're the ones whose attention advertisers most want to capture on television and in the movies. And I'm going to tell you why. Paper towels. I was recently at the house of a friend who just made one of those trips to Costco where you feel really smug about all the money you saved until you get home and can't fit the 20-pound jar of generic peanut butter in any of your cupboards because you forgot about the 10 giant jars you already have. So she was trying to get rid of some stuff. She offered me one of those 12 packs of paper towels that can also be used as an air mattress if you have a guest over, and I was pretty psyched to take it off her hands. Then I looked at them a little more closely, and I realized they weren't my brand of paper towels. So I turned down these free paper towels, which my friend thought was crazy, and that's how I suddenly realized I was out of the key demo. To some degree, I get why our business likes them young. Advertisers want people they can convert, people who haven't yet made up their minds about things like what their favorite paper towels are, people who might change their minds and switch to a different brand because of the ads they see. But as consumers get older, they decide what they like to use, and they hardly ever deviate, which means advertisers need to move on to influence the next batch of potential paper towel devotees, which is why there aren't more older people, especially women, who apparently have a tendency to pick their paper towel preferences earliest, in movies and television. But what about Betty White, you ask? You're right. Betty White is hilarious, talented, and still working. That is so incredibly rare that she is literally the only person anyone ever mentions when challenging my paper towel theory. There simply isn't a ton of work for women in her category, and therefore there isn't one other example of a Betty White type other than Betty White herself. Another remarkable thing about Betty White is that she went from being 20 and 30-something Betty to 80-something Betty, while maintaining the same wonderful qualities she always had of just plain being Betty White. No matter what characters she plays, Betty White is always funny, always smart, and always at least a little sexy. She didn't set herself up early on as hot temptress Betty White, and therefore she didn't have to desperately try to cling to her hot temptress persona, pretending with each passing year that nothing had changed.